Good morning. It's Saturday, and we continue today with Matthew 6, 5 through 8, which says, "When you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and in the street corners, that they may be seen by other people. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you pray, go into your room and shut the door. Pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think they will be heard for their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask Him." So Jesus says, don't make a show of your piety. Don't heap up long, involved prayers in public. Will Willimon is a rather famous Methodist minister. They say he's a man who never had an unpublished thought. He's written a lot of books, and he tells a story of being at some sort of conference one time and sitting on the stage next to Walter Brueggemann. Now, Walter Brueggemann is a famous Old Testament scholar, and most recently taught at Columbia Seminary in Decatur, Georgia. Anyway, somebody was up giving a very long and involved invocation and just kept praying and praying and praying, and Brueggemann was going to speak, and he was getting a little antsy. And Willimon says that he heard Brueggemann say, "Oh God, it's me, Walt. Help." If you know Brueggemann, you know he never said anything that concise. So that's kind of funny. But it's also the case that that sort of prayer is all we need many times. Hey, God, help. God knows what we need. God knows what is required, and God will give it to us. God, He wants us to acknowledge His activity at His presence and His presence in our lives. But beyond that, we don't need to heap up a whole bunch of explanatory stuff. God already knows what we need and what we want. So our prayers can actually be quite simple, very simple. You may have heard some people talk about going into the prayer closet, and that comes from that little passage I just read where, when you pray, go and do it in secret. Go somewhere and hide. You don't have to hide, but you don't want to make a show of it either. And so you have to figure out, the balance for that. When I got my doctorate from Columbia Seminary, the night before there was a baccalaureate service of sorts, and it was held in a church, and we were all in there. And one of the faculty members got up to pray, and she was an Old Testament scholar, as I recall. And she said, "Oh God," and then proceeded to use every phrase from every one of the prophets that might be applied to God. And it was just on and on and on. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, you're a young professor, and you're kind of showing off that you know the Old Testament quite well, and you know that all these people in the room are ministers and scholars, and ministers who've worked hard on things and thought a lot about things, and so we will appreciate all of this scholarship. All I could think of was help. Get on with it. Eventually she did, and all was well. So I'm not accusing that person of heaping up empty phrases, but I'm just saying that at times it gets that way, and even unintentionally we sometimes get that way. So we shouldn't be judging other people on how they pray, but when we pray, we want to avoid this sort of showmanship that doesn't do anybody any good. Now, the text goes immediately then into the Lord's Prayer, and we're going to skip that. So Monday we'll be picking up right after Jesus teaches them the Lord's Prayer with some more about prayer. See you Monday.